Hello and welcome to This Our Johnny Domino, a podcast so niche that even we, its makers, sometimes feel we're listening to someone else's in-joke. I'm Giles, and this is my slightly sweeter smelling brother, Stephen.
That's because I've had a shower this morning. You had one yet?
Not yet, no. I'm in my pants.
What an abiding image. Welcome to the podcast.
Back in the 90s, we recorded lots of music, lots of it in our bedrooms, in a failed attempt to make it, in inverted commas, on the underground indie music scene. Life happened, the years passed by, and now, decades on, we are digging through the archive of tapes and recordings, and we are presenting for you our thoughts and responses. Is that about right, Steve?
I think that is basically the podcast in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's esoteric. It's up its own arse. It's in its own belly button, but we are enjoying ourselves.
I just said indeed twice.
Indeed.
Each episode consists of 3 tracks, and at the end, we decide which, if any of them, are worthy of including on a theoretical best of compilation. I think we might get started right now.
Okay.
Actually, no, before we start, though, I just wanted to say something because I've been listening to the previous episodes that we recorded, and I don't know whether the listener agrees with me. If they are, actually, that's another point. I've got a few side points.
Okay. Footnotes.
Yeah, footnotes. I've got a few footnotes. So, number one, I feel that perhaps people might be getting the impression that this is a conversation between somebody who's got a mind like a giant database, who can remember every minute detail, and somebody else who's got brain damage. And I just wanted to address that issue.
Okay.
I think though I may have in my 20s and 30s done some things that did kill a few brain cells, I don't think that's what's happening here. I think that you, Stephen, have a freakishly strong memory.
Yeah, you say that, but I also, probably not to the same extent as you, I'd also killed a few brain cells in my younger years. So much so that, if you remember, I forgot that I had a beard at one point in my past. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, and that was a real conversation. I forgot that I had a beard.
But I think you have. It's fair to say, and it's pretty clear in the evidence, that you have quite a good memory, and that a lot of this stuff has kind of receded into the background for me. So, I quite a lot of this podcast is me going, "Oh, so Steve, what is this one?"
Okay, yeah. But I probably either have a very strong memory, or I'm confident in the stories that I tell myself about the things I think we did in the past. Yeah. And that will come to pass in these songs that we've chosen today.
Yeah. I think also I don't really pay that much attention.
No.
Ever. Yeah.
If you have listened to the podcast before and you're a returning listener, thank you so much for joining us again. If you're a new listener, this is basically what we do. We argue about the past, what things we can remember, talk about the songs that we recorded in our youth, and decide if any of them are any good.
Cool. So what's the first song we're going to listen to today, Steve?
Well, we've got 2 versions of it. We were just talking about this before we hit record. We recorded 2 versions of this track, and one of them, the word that I can only come up with is turgid. It's sludgy. It's so slow. And then we re-recorded it in a kind of peppier version. There might be some charms in the turgid version. I'm not sure.
I think turgid sometimes can be charming. Let's face it. I know you're quite a big fan of the Killdozer.
I love the Killdozer.
And they are like absolutely turgid, aren't they? Let's face it. That's turgid is the thing.
Absolutely, yeah. But this is kind of slightly turgid. Killdozer go for it whole hog. And this is it's a bit of a middle ground. It's more turgish.
Yeah, okay.
We don't really go for it properly. The story behind this first version is our French friends, Lauren and Virginie, they did a lot of compilation tapes, a lot of compilations of people doing cover versions of the Jesus and Mary chain. And they had an idea for a compilation tape, which I don't think actually came out. They wanted all their friends in bands to record songs that were 60 seconds long. So the first part of this track is exactly 60 seconds long. And then once we'd recorded the 60, we decided, okay, this is 60 seconds long. We'll leave a gap and then we'll carry on.
And there was the mistake.
As in carrying on, yeah. You could say that about any of these recordings. Our mistake was carrying on.
Oh dear!
But let's be upbeat.
I think we're being a bit negative today, aren't we?
A little bit.
Could be it's the negative episode of this Our Johnny Domino.
Yeah, but we've got some good ones to talk about. Here's the speed of this one, and let's see what we have to say about it.
Version 1, yeah?
Yeah, and pay attention. This is the only one that has a break after the first minute.
Okay.
So let's get to the first minute, okay?
Okay, let's go.
First stumble, second fumble, third crumble. Under pressure's double. We are the next big thing. Now we've paid our dues, so lay down your snooker cues. That's right. First stumble, second fumble, eat protein, drink milk and ouzo. Pack up your troubles and finish your beer. There's no A and R, no A and R, they're not here.
So that's the first minute.
That is the first minute, yes.
Yeah. I think I'm going to disagree. We might end up disagreeing. I like the keyboard. I like that keyboard bass. That's nice.
Keyboard bass.
I like a bit of keyboard bass, don't you?
Oh, yeah,
it's kind of it chugs along, and I like that, and I like it as it. This is me hearing it for the first time for a long time, so I'm not, this is not a pre-prepared thing, right? But I like the acoustic guitar in contrast with the keyboard bass, and I didn't think it sounded that turgid. I'm kind of disagreeing with you.
Okay, well, that's cool. That's cool. In my mind, I'm playing the bass and you're doing the lead. So we're both playing the same keyboard at the same time. Which is why there are these weird bits where I'm faffing around with the pitch bend.
Oh, yeah.
And it affects the keyboard. So everything happens in sync. There's a lot of weird bits, but you're doing the high bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I was quite enjoying it. I don't know. Were you thinking maybe we kind of listen to the second version now and compare and contrast?
Well, don't we listen to the next bit of this version?
Okay.
But is there anything to say about the lyrics? Because I think there is a theme within a lot of our songs, which is preemptive dismissal.
Oh, yeah.
It goes back to sort of like feeling insecure about talking to women in bars. But there's also this whole thing about we're recording this stuff at home and we were sending things to record labels. But the thing about there's no A&R, there's no A&R here.
Yeah.
And, there's lots of things about, there's a line later on in the song, which is, we have worked long and hard and we still sound like this. We weren't working long and hard. But,
we weren't really.
But yeah, there's no A&R here. And there's things about, we're a major label tax loss.
All I'm saying is like, I'm a loser, baby.
And I know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to carry on with the turgid one, yeah?
Yeah, go.
Version 1.
Easy to look at me and
One note middle 8.
That bit is a bit touchy.
He said, I've got some stories to tell. I went to Italy to try and find myself.
The tambourine sounds like it's being played in the next room. It's so out of time.
It was a dream shifting into nightmare. It was a dream come true on the dance floor. But what use is a love like ours without subtitles? First
I think we should switch to the other version. I want to do a bit of compare and contrast.
Okay, let's do that.
Under pressure.
I don't know. It has got some good things about it. I don't know. I quite like the kind of the instruments and the sort of like the bedroomy sound of it. It's it's cool. But I think that one note solo was a bit. That's like let's just do something to annoy people.
Yes.
You know about the lyrics though. I like the lyrics about Italy. More than the sort of the beating yourself up. We're never going to be successful bit.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why in a bit. Because it made me think of something.
Okay, well, let's go with the next one, all right? The next version. Now, we're only a couple of months apart, these two versions. I thought the sluggish version was like years before, but it was the same year, probably about 3 or 4 months difference. But yeah, this is one we recorded. It's a slightly perkier version.
First stumble, second fumble, third crumble. Under pressure that's double. We are the next big thing. Hey, we paid our dues, so lay down your snooker cue. That's right. First stumble, second fumble, eat protein, drink milk and lose all. Pack up your troubles and finish your beer.
Nice.
No idea what that noise was about at the end.
That was good. I like that. Why did the word semisonic come into my head?
Was it the major label tax loss? I think this was in like the post Britpop gold rush, where this idea of the major label tax off. We're talking about bands like Smash and These Animal Men and things like that. You know, it's kind of the record labels were pumping money into them, and they were never going to do anything. So I think that's part of what we were talking about. But again, we would have loved to have been a major label tax loss.
That would have been a dream. I quite like the perkier version there. I was like nodding my head along to that. There's some good bass playing there. I believe that was probably you.
Well,
I imagine it was. I don't think I would have learned a bass line as fluid as that at that point in my career.
I'll give over.
No, but it was quite good.
This is the period when we were almost getting into an area which we used to call pro sounds. And bearing in mind we were recording it on a 4-track cassette recorder, but I sort of got obsessed with recording things as cleanly as possible, so that everything is recorded very, very nicely.
Comparing it with the first version, it is way cleaner, isn't it? It's you
bizarre.
can see you've made a bit of progress there in terms of recording. Yeah, and I don't know. I thought it was an improvement.
Yeah.
So we did that. I think we did make it better. We still kept the one note solo, but thankfully it was a bit shorter because it was a bit faster, I suppose.
But yeah, the drums are super clean.
Mm.
We might have even used 2 plaid shirts on the drum kit. So we had one on the floor tom and one on the snare.
Oh, yeah.
Just to improve the sound.
Maybe explain to people who have no idea what the hell you're on about. What we're talking about plaid shirts for?
When we recorded the drums, we always put a plaid shirt on top of them to make them sound a bit tighter. It was an affectation.
It was a 90s thing.
It was a 90s thing. Maybe it's those 90s vibes. Yeah. You can only get them through a plaid shirt.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, we used to have, I've got pictures of you playing the drums, and we've got plaid shirts on top of the drums.
Nice.
Just to deaden them a little bit.
We may have to dig that picture out. I kind of want to see that. Do you know, Steve, after all these years, what Vengo means?
Does it not mean faster, faster? Is it a bit rude? Judging by your
I'm really glad. Well, no, what I like about it, because there's that bit where I went to Italy, right?
Yeah.
Right. Which is interesting because I went to Italy to try and find myself. And actually, a few years ago, I did go to Italy, and I really did. I enjoyed it. I really did find myself. Actually, there's a whole story. I would say that I went to Italy and I did find myself. It was lovely, but the title is not Italian. It's Spanish, actually.
Okay,
and it means literally, "I am coming."
Is that true?
It means I am coming. I am coming. It says, I am coming, vengo, vengo.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it means. But I like the fact it's in Spanish.
And you went to Italy.
Are you shocked about that, Steve? Is that a bombshell?
I think I had a vague memory of the fact that you got it from some kind of pornographic comic.
I did. But, it was a dream come true on the dance floor.
Mm. And did all of this actually happen? Did you wish it into existence with this song when you found yourself?
I might have done. I don't remember dancing physically.
Not physically. Okay.
But I did find myself in Italy. So there you go. So I think it was some kind of premonition. So there you go.
That's nice.
And so and also the music chopping and changing. It's chopping and a changing, that music, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's got a little bit about what life ended up being like.
Wow,
that's
deep.
Philosophical, isn't it?
We've got to stop recording these episodes on Sunday mornings.
Yeah,
because you're feeling all spiritual and mellow.
I think I want everybody to just take in a deep breath for 4.
Oh, don't start that again.
And release.
Can we play the next song now?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the one that you chose, the artist.
Ooh.
And I think there are kind of thematic links between all of the songs that we're talking about, not in a kind of contrived sort of way, but in a accidental sort of way, because, you know, you're trying to find yourself. And then we've got, well, let's let it speak for itself. It's very, very short. Okay,
go.
Hello? I've got a lot to say, but not much time. Squeezing it out of my head. But after that, well, not much happens. Don't want to talk small, don't want to talk big, don't want to talk at all. Just want to sit and think about how I just messed everything up. Maybe I'll have another. I did it on my own. I'm just a lonely boy who's fully grown and not alone. Why don't you smile, you groan? But you can't see I'm running out of paint. Don't want to talk small, don't want to talk big, don't want to talk at all. Just want to sit and think about how I just messed everything up. Maybe I'll have another. Don't want to talk small, don't want to talk at all. Just want to sit and think about how I fucked up everything. Maybe I'll have another.
Go on then. What do you think about that one? I mean, I chose that one because I remembered with my weakened memory that was actually, I thought that was quite a good one. I always thought that was a pretty good song.
Yeah.
And we didn't make the mistake of going on too long with that one, did we?
No, but that is a side product of the fact that it's another song that I recorded on my own before I went to work. You know what I mean?
Dun, dun.
And this is another element of a recurring theme in these podcasts of Steve's smugness. So again, I obviously got a morning before I went to work, whether I was working behind the counter of a musical retail outlet from the 80s and 90s. I had an hour or so to spare. The thing that was in my head when I was recording it was, is it Peter Skellern and Richard Stilgoe?
Yeah. I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to figure out what you were going for, and I couldn't think of it. And Peter Skellern was the name that I was trying to come for, but I was trying to reach for, but I couldn't get it. So I all I came up with Jake Thackray, and it's not Jake.
Yeah,
Thackray.
it's that kind of thing though. It's that sort of like, oh, I'm really happy with myself sort of music. And personally, Steve Smugness, what I like about that is the drums. When I play drums on any of these recordings, they're what I call very, very literal, in that they hammer on in a sort of relentless sort of way. And I think I managed to record something with a bit of swing.
They follow the guitar bit, right? Do you mean that? Do you mean they kind of like follow rhythmically what the guitar's doing?
It's like locked on in a kind of unmusical sort of way. And that's probably the only instance where I did actually play the drums with a bit of feel. But again, it's the floor tom and a snare and playing with beaters. And I must have overdubbed the maracas on top. You can feel that they're kind of slipping away because they weren't actual maracas. They might have been made of plastic.
Yeah.
We might have had some toy maracas lying around.
I remember them. Yeah.
And playing guitar with my fingers is not my forte. So I managed to kind of get one of those guitar bits sounding quite nice. I probably spent a lot of time recording that bit, and probably a lot of frustration in trying to get it sounding right, which is probably another reason why it's so short. Because there's only so many times I could record that guitar bit without wanting to shoot myself.
Oh man. You see, there you go, Steve. That's it, really. And that's kind of why it comes together, because that's what the song is about. Right? Because the name of the song, The Artist, is kind of a bit ironic and self-aggrandizing, I suppose. But like, I do art.
Yes.
It's a big part of my life. I do draw, I do paint. And what the thing about being an artist that is like, I don't know, you don't talk about it that much, I suppose, is that it's massively frustrating a lot of the time, right? And you just spend such a lot of time thinking, oh, I just really fucked that bit up. And just catching yourself in between moments of like things working.
Yeah.
Then then you go for another stage where you just completely, everything you do is just like complete dog shit,
Yeah.
and it just goes wrong, and you just get yourself into a hole, and then it works again, and it's just like that as a cycle, but it's not a predictable cycle.
No.
And that's what you're describing with the music as well, right? And that's what the song is about. That's what I'm saying in the song. No, there's one lyric that really annoys me. I like the lyrics, but the one lyric that really annoys me, where I changed it from maybe I'll do another to maybe I'll have another, because I thought it sounded cooler because it was like having a drink.
Right.
But actually it was like, maybe I'll do another, because it's like doing another thing, doing another painting, doing another drawing, doing another whatever.
Right.
So that annoys me because I changed it and I shouldn't have done.
I always took this song as being a reference to your time doing a fine art degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Why?
the thing,
What
the fact it's called The Artist, so it's like an artist statement. And I like the line about the person that you're talking to doesn't understand your artistic struggle, and the source of your artistic struggle is you're running out of paint. It's that is the sum total of your concerns. Is, I'm saying you, as in talking to the character in the song.
Yeah.
The sum total of their concern is the fact that they are running out of paint.
Yeah. And that's that's absolutely true. But it's not like, when I was like maybe at uni, that might have been a literal thing that was true. I was like, but I suppose it's always been true, really. I'm always like running out of the stuff, whatever it is, that I need to be able to make the thing, be it like paint or be it time or be it whatever, right? So you're just always running out of the stuff that you need. It's about the frustration, really.
Yeah.
But I think it comes together really well as a song. Don't want to get too self-aggrandizing on this podcast, but I think it comes together because it's short and to the point, and the music, as you sort of described, kind of like links quite nicely with the lyrics. So there you go.
I like that. That song, and again in scare quotes, it got an official release at the time in a single that our French friends Lauren and Virginie put out, and it was the last track on our EP. But I do have very fond memories of feeling very pleased with myself when I presented this bit of music to you. But I didn't, as always, I didn't leave you a huge amount of room to fill with lyrics because it was very tightly packed. And I think sometimes that can work. I'm sure it's very frustrating as a lyricist.
No, it's all right. I don't mind. It's like sometimes, most of the time, it's quite good because it's like another thing that's quite good is like, here's another theme. Here's another theme that like to unpack at some point is like working within your limitations, right?
Yeah.
Which actually is like, that's like the key to creativity, isn't it? One of, I think, is like, having limitations and trying to make something work within those boundaries. Because if you don't have those boundaries, you can do anything. For me, that's like death of creativity.
You just go on forever.
You're just gone forever. You can just edit something forever. When are you going to stop?
Adding bits and bits on top, yeah.
So anyway, Sunday morning philosophy.
Okay. Is this another jingle I've got to do? Sunday morning philosophy. Okay.
Then are we moving on?
I think so. Have you got anything more to say?
Is it time to move on? No, I think it's time to move on. I don't even know what the next song is. So I've completely forgot what you said it was going to be. So this could be an absolute car crash because I have nothing to say about it. So I'm going to have to just make it up. There you go. Just letting you know. This
is from the first batch of songs we recorded. So some people might have heard this story before, but our first batch of recordings, we borrowed a 4-track recorder from somebody else and we had it for a month. And during that time, we recorded a batch of songs. And this is one of them that we recorded. Now, going back to my memory, in my mind, I recorded this track while you were in the shower, from soup to nuts, the whole thing, while you were in the shower. I don't think you were particularly long in the shower, but in my memory, that's what I did. Now, I think the thematic link between this song and certainly the last one is because the artist is self-obsessed. I was a very pretentious adolescent and I liked films that were very artistic. My favourite film at this point in time was Barton Fink by the Coen brothers, which is basically about an artist who thinks he's very, very important. He's doing work of great value to the American public. And he eventually learns that he is not the centre of the story of the film, even though the title of the film is Barton Fink. The story of the film is the annoying salesman played by John Goodman in the hotel room next door, who is a serial killer. Now, at the end of the film, he tortures the hotel. So, being incredibly pretentious, I recorded this piece of music.
Oh, wow. Maybe I'll go and have a shower. I feel like I've had like an audio shower in my headphones. I feel like my brain is now clean.
Yeah. The life of the mind line goes back to something Barton Fink. He's talking to this guy who he thinks is a schmo, who's like a salesman. And he's saying, oh, you wouldn't understand the trauma of, the artistic mind, the life of the mind. And obviously at the end of the film, spoiler, John Goodman's character sets fire to the hotel they're staying in and marauders through the hotel with a shotgun and just saying, I'll show you the life of the mind. And then at the end of the film, he presents Barton Fink with a box which may or may not contain the head of the woman that Barton Fink sleeps with earlier on in the film.
Wow. I need to watch that. See if you can find the clip on YouTube and put a link in the description, because that would be cool to watch, actually. I like there's a nice sort of stereo thing going on with the guitar tracks.
Yeah. Well, I think I recorded 3.
Yeah.
3 tracks of feedback. I was thinking earlier, I think the first thing I learned how to do with a guitar was make feedback. because I've got a memory of borrowing your guitar on a Sunday morning, going back to Sunday morning again, and just making feedback. I mean, again, thank you to our incredibly indulgent parents and our old neighbours in the family
You need to
house.
stop going on about them.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, you can't get that sort of sound without turning the amplifier up.
Yeah, I know. I do. It is amazing that they pull with it. Look at what we created, guys.
Look at what we created that no one's heard apart from on this podcast, and that's assuming that anyone's listening to it.
It's sort of someone is. There's definitely a listener, and we're doing it for them.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening.
Cool. Enjoyed that one. Anyway, I think we are at the end. Do you agree, young Steve?
Yeah, we're at the point of the podcast where we have to choose one of these songs to go onto an imaginary compilation tape. Whether it's for a friend or a girl that we're trying to impress, we do not know. We haven't thought about it that much, but it is a compilation tape. Now, of these 3 songs, which would you like to choose?
Right, I'll talk you through my thought process.
Go.
I think if you could make a mashup version of the 2 versions of Vengo Vengo, where you've got the best bit, I think the first bit of the first version and probably a large chunk of the second version, and then going back to the first version, to be honest, that would be strong, right?
But I am not George Martin, and this is not Strawberry Fields Forever.
Oh, come on, man.
Unfortunately, they were recorded at different speeds, but they were both in the same key. So I can't do anything to make that happen.
Okay.
I suppose I could do, but I really can't be bothered.
Yeah. The artist, I think, is probably my favourite, but it annoys me that I didn't.
Because you got that one word wrong.
I got that word wrong. And that just, every time I listen to it, I just say the other word in my head every time, because it could have been so good. So again, it's another example of art being really frustrating, because it's like you nearly get it right. That's what keeps you going. You nearly get it right, but you never get it right completely.
Next time you'll get it.
Next time, right? And then the last one, again, it was a very good Sunday morning track with like awesome. I don't know. I was getting into it. I didn't go in the shower. I enjoyed it this time.
Excellent.
And I enjoyed the sort of feedback on my headphones. So I don't know, Steve. I don't want to make it too exciting, but I think it might be. Do you like the pause? The artist.
I agree. I think it's the artist, because it's nice and short. You know, if you've got a tape, you can look at the tape and go, "Oh, I've probably got less than 2 minutes left on this side. I need a really short song." The artist is very short, and it's not short for the sake of it. It's just what it is. Yeah. And I enjoyed it listening to it this morning as well.
Yeah, good. It's been nice today. It's been quite a philosophical and laid back one, looking out the window on a very sunny morning. I've enjoyed talking to you, brother.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you know somebody who you feel would enjoy this podcast, maybe it's somebody that you used to swap compilation tapes with, maybe you've lost touch, or maybe you used to sort of like sit in the pub and talk about music and argue about it because it was important to you at that time, share the podcast with them. And please follow, like, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Cool. Thanks very much for listening.
Don't want to talk small. Don't want to talk at all. Just want to sit and think about how I fucked up everything. Maybe I'm